welcome to the Fermented Homestead, and welcome to the last gardening tour of the spring. Been a little MIA for the last 2 weeks. Been kind of busy / obsessed with fermenting and marketing and all that sort of stuff. I was selling at a festival over this last weekend, and I thought that I had to do a bunch of stuff to get ready for it. Turns out it was an absolute bust. It was terrible. It was so frustrating. So I have since done some reflecting and realized that while I enjoy selling at markets, and I will continue to sell at markets, it is definitely not going to be a priority for me. So back to the garden, back to doing a bunch of videos. I'm even going to start working on a recipe ebook, which hopefully I will eventually turn into an actual book. I want to get my website going, and I also am going to start working on, which is going to be a very long project, but a fermenting course, like an online video course. It's going to be like 10 or 12 different videos and continuing to add to it and all kinds of printables and all kinds of cool stuff. So be on the lookout for that one, but probably not for about a year, but I'm going to start working on it. It's just a massive project. So at any rate, let's go ahead and take a look at the garden. The first spot is this one right here. This one is the closest to the house. We have here a bunch of radishes, which are doing fantastic. I need to pull these guys out and do some fermenting videos, so we'll be on the lookout for a fermenting radish video soon. We also have a bunch of cucumbers and weeds. This particular is a hogweed. I need to pull those with gloves because it is dangerously torturous. But all of these radishes are doing so phenomenal. Look at China rose, we got watermelon radishes, all sorts of really cool looking stuff. They're doing fantastic. And it looks like I had, let me see, I had 6 cucumber plants survive. Not very good odds. Literally none of them right over here survived. Little salamander. Holy smokes, one of them came back. We got one. And then these are all supposed to be beets. I don't think a single one actually sprouted. This whole area here, I planted hundreds of beets. This one here has not been planted in yet. One interesting thing to note about myself, I have ADHD. I know I've talked about that a few times. And one of those things is hyperfixation. And I was planning on doing the most massive garden ever before summer, and I got sidetracked with the fermenting thing. So it is now going to be the most massive garden by fall garden. And all of this is going to be turned into a fall garden. I'm going to be planting all kinds of kales, cabbages, just all sorts of cold weather crops. So that's going to be fun, and you know, probably good timing because all this stuff is going to be planted. Where am I going to put the fall stuff, you know? So over here we have tomatoes that I need to install the trellis for. I'm going to end up doing that probably sometime this week, probably like on my husband's weekend. We have the first fruits, oddly enough, in my garden are jalapenos. I've got plenty of them. These are the jalapenos that I bought from Living Traditions, and they've been doing fantastic. So if you guys are local, they're not selling right now, but next year I highly encourage you to buy them because they are great plants. They're doing way better than mine, that's for sure. And over here we have our beans, which are taking off. I learned my lesson last year to never transplant beans. Peas do okay, but they still prefer direct sow. But the beans, nope. We're finally starting to get the flowers, but it doesn't look like any actual beans have set yet. So, should be any day now. Sadly, I'm here to report some sad news. In the greenhouse, you remember all of those flats that we started together? Almost none of them actually sprouted. I think it's because the greenhouse without a shade cloth is a really stupid idea. I had 2 that looks like they died. They're still soft though, so they might come back. This one, and this one had 0 sprouts. Even the weed died. And this one was doing fantastic when I was at the festival 2 days ago. I did not have the door propped open like I usually do. Ooh, spider. I didn't have the door propped open like I usually do, and the wind closed it, and they died. But the cucumber and the basil that I planted are doing fine. Those apparently like heat, and they survived. And then I pulled them out of the greenhouse. So let me go show you the upper garden, which I finally got weeded. I'm so excited. I weeded all the big ones. I even had to get a shovel, like an actual shovel, to dig some of these guys out. They were massive. huge taproots, like a foot long. I think they were plantains, which, I mean, that tells me that the plantains are likely very nutritious because they go so far down, but man, they suck. But this is all planted with my cherry tomatoes, all different kinds. It looks like something found this one. Oh, hold please, hold please. And if you guys were with me last year, I learned my lesson. I did not plant them with eggs. Terrible idea around these parts. I usually planted them in Washington. I did what Jess from Roots and Refuge does, and I planted them with an egg in there. Like you crack an egg and you plant there, and it all got dug up by something that likes eggs. So I didn't do that this year. Looks like they're all doing fine. But I did find several of the eggs from last year, and woo! But that's the only thing that I have planted in this bed. I think I'll probably do herbs in that bed. I was thinking about doing more tomatoes, but I don't want to trellis it. And then probably some cucumbers in that one over there, or melons. Most of kind of this area over here is hubby's, and he's got a ton of potatoes. That bed over there is all Jerusalem artichokes or sunchokes, but he's got lots of potatoes, and he planted, looks like he planted beans here. There's some more potatoes, beans, the magical fruit. And then this area over here that used to be last year was potatoes is now having some leftover potatoes growing from last year. And this is gonna be my squash, my winter squash area. Got some dirt down, but I don't have to do a whole lot because you plant them so far apart, like I can literally just do a couple mounds of dirt, and I don't have to necessarily pile up the whole thing. And then you can see where we are now. Over here, my squash finally sprouted. These are zucchinis. I got 2 here. There's 2 over there as well, and 2 over there. So, and then here is the okra, which most of them are doing fantastic. Some of them not so much. It looks like we only had 1 for sure fatality, and then 2 maybe. And then over here, tomatoes that I am going to come through and actually attach to the trellis. They are producing fruit. This one is a Cherokee Purple. And these ones are also ones that the majority of them I got from Living Traditions, but a lot of them are also mine. So should be pretty yum. Juliet cherry. Yummy. That looks like a big cherry. I have been coming through when I have the opportunity and getting some stuff planted, moving dirt. That's kind of one of the big holdups is time and the fact that I have to move all the dirt to plant in. So it takes a lot of time. It really does. And then over here we have these 4 are eggplants, 2 tomatillos, and then the rest are just peppers. A mixture of mine and purchased. Jalapenos. We got some Sugar Rush peaches, which are doing phenomenal, and I'm so excited to finally get to try them. This trellis is going to be cucumbers later today. After I film this, I'm just gonna go ahead and do a bunch of gardening for the rest of the day until the rain starts around 2 o'clock. And then I'm gonna go inside, edit this video, get my room organized, kinda center myself, have a little me day, do whatever the heck I want. And then these 2 beds are free. Hubby built them and he said that I can plant in them if I wish. And then these are gonna be all melons. I'm just gonna grow them over here. Obviously smaller melons like Kiku chrysanthemum, Kajari, stuff like that are gonna be super tasty. One super frustrating thing about everything in the greenhouse not sprouting, I think it was my fault because I should have pulled them out. I did not realize they would not germinate in that kind of heat. My bad. Learn something new every day. So sometime later this week, I might end up heading to the greenhouse, like the actual, like the real people who know how to use a greenhouse, and pick up flowers because all my flowers died and I'm super bummed about that. But right now is kind of the end of the season, so I think I could probably get some stuff pretty cheap. People are trying to get rid of stuff. I remember from last year. The devil. Freaking Japanese beetles. I gotta go pick up traps for them too. Those traps, they're like bags and they're green. Those worked, from what I can tell, they were phenomenal. You want to see something really amazing? Look at this guy. It's almost as tall as me. There's 2 of them growing out of the same spot. Last year we had one mullein plant over there by the coop, and oddly enough, none sprouted over there because I let it go to seed and it died and everything. But this one came out of nowhere. We also have 2 of them, the 3 of them growing down there. What the heck was that? There's 1 of them growing over there. It survived a weed eater, and 2 over here. There's probably gotta be at least 10 back here in this field area, and then over there on the left of the coop is like probably another 7 or 8. So I think I'm gonna start making mullein tinctures, but we have 2 new additions to the homestead and I'm really excited about it. Let me show you. I don't have my phone on me, so I don't know if you'll be able to see. This area over here, you can see we got the coop over here. This area here is just basically a field, probably bigger than most people's gardens, that is just ready for me to turn some animals loose on, to till it up. I'm gonna tarp it, and then come the fall, there might be a fall garden there, possibly spring, depending on how things work out. Trying not to get too overzealous, which doesn't really happen for me. But look what she hatched. She's very territorial and I don't want to get her upset. This is our first time taking them out of the coop. They have definitely upset the balance of the nesting boxes, and the other chickens stopped laying in there. That is addition number 1. We also have, I think, like 10 barnyard chicks that we had saved the eggs for and hatched them out in the brooder. They did have 2 more chicks. They had 2 of them at a time and then 3 more later. But when hubby went to check on them, one of those 2 had died. So he pulled the other one and put it in the brooder with the rest of them. So they technically hatched out 5. Are you ready to see the last edition? We got little piglets. These are a Mangalitsa Berkshire cross. We got a breeding trio, so a boar and an intact boar and 2 females. And then we got 2 castrated males. So that way, when these guys grow up and they're big enough to start breeding, the other 2 will be ready to harvest, so we don't have to wait so long for bacon. So we got bacon seeds. This is my leftovers from the festival. I've got a lot more than I intended. I was planning on, the ferments are in here in the cooler. I was planning on running them back to the kitchen, like when it got really hot during the day, but it's not supposed to get hot. It's a perfect day for gardening. It's gonna be cloudy. It's gonna start raining around 2 o'clock, so I'm just gonna tarp these guys and run them there tomorrow when I'm already planning on going to work there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick, brief garden tour. There's gonna be a lot more of it coming soon, as well as a lot more fermenting videos. I have quite a few ideas that I've got rolling around in my brains, and I'm trying to figure out how to put it into video. But I'm definitely getting back to the 2-day-a-week video schedule. If I can do a 3rd one, I will, but I'm definitely not gonna overcommit myself. Planning on doing a gardening video most Sundays, and then some kind of another video throughout the week, maybe like Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. And if you guys are excited about me doing like a recipe ebook and a regular book, get my website finally going. It has been saying coming soon for 5 years. I have no idea how to do it, but I'm gonna figure it out. And also doing a very in-depth coverage of a fermenting course, a fermenting video course. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you check out my last gardening video. That way you can see where we came from and what's coming up next. So, peace out, sauerkraut.